So how do we play sick bluesy licks over top of minor 2-5-1 chord progressions? Well, I'm gonna show you a very simple tool to make this really easy, coming right up. What's up, Brent here from Learn Jazz Standards, where we help musicians just like you learn how to play jazz, all while shortening the learning curve no matter what instrument you play. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification button to never miss out on anything going on here. So this simple tool for really spicing up your jazz lines and playing really bluesy stuff over minor 2-5-1 chord progressions is something we call tritone substitution. But before we get to tritone substitution and exactly how to utilize it in order to get that bluesy sound, let's talk about what a minor 2-5-1 chord progression is in concert C minor. So a minor 2-5-1 chord progression in C minor is D minor 7 flat 5, G7, that's the 5 chord, and then C minor 7 is the 1 chord. Any variation of that, and there's a lot of different stuff that we can play over top of a minor 2-5-1, such as a lick like this. Right? But what we want to do for this video today is get some really awesome bluesy language coming out. You know, stuff like this, but let's use this tool of tritone substitution. So what exactly is tritone substitution and how can we use it? Well, tritone substitution is simply substituting one chord for another chord a tritone interval away. So if we have the chord D minor 7 flat 5, our 2 chord, and we want to substitute it for a tritone, we call this the tritone sub of 2, then what we can do is go, what is a tritone away from D? Now that would be the flat 5 or the sharp 4, however you want to think about it. That's what a tritone is. Okay, in this case, it's A flat. So now a very common quality of chord for tritone substitution is a dominant 7th chord. So what we're gonna be doing then is taking that A flat and playing a dominant 7th chord. So now we have an A flat 7 followed by a G7, that's the 5 chord, and a C minor 7. So the tritone substitution of 2, which is A flat 7 with the 5 chord, and then the 1 chord, C minor. Okay, so now that we understand what tritone substitution is, how can we use this as a tool to create bluesy lines in our jazz playing? So the first thing we need to do is understand why making a tritone substitution for a 2 chord is going to bring out a bluesy sound. The best way to do that is to compare it to a C minor blues scale, which is like this: C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and then B flat. Okay, now when we look at the notes in the C minor blues scale and we compare it to the A flat 7, where we have an A flat, and we have a C, and we have an E flat, and then we have a G flat, right? We can see that the note that really stands out for us is this F sharp note. This is what we call the blue note in jazz, or especially in this blues scale. It's kind of that note that's bringing it all out, and that G flat or that F sharp in the A flat 7 is the 7th of the A flat. So in other words, that note is really the note that we want to be targeting in our jazz lines. But let's go ahead and take it a step further, because where scales really don't do it for me when it comes to jazz improv is they oftentimes miss out on the chord tones, which are super important for us bringing out the harmony in a jazz standard, which really creates authentic jazz lines. So I'd always like you to approach tritone substitution, or really anything in jazz, by first thinking about the chord tones. Right, that's just simple identifying what the chord tones actually are. But when I'm coming from that perspective, I can think about hitting that blue note, which is the 7th, but hitting those chord tones, the 3rds, the 7ths, the 5ths, now to the G7, right? Resolving to the C minor 7. So if we're thinking about this tritone substitution from the context of chord tones, right, we can start creating those bluesy lines, all while not missing out on the chord tone harmony going on underneath it. So what I want to do now is quickly take a look at this tune called There Is No Greater Love. We happen to be studying it in our Inner Circle membership. And let's take a look at a few examples here. So we have a few 2-5-1 chord progressions in here, the D minor 7 flat 5, followed by the G7. And instead of a minor chord, this one does resolve to a dominant 7 first and then goes to a minor 7th, but let's just ignore that for now. Another place you see it is down here in the bridge, which is A minor 7, D7 to G minor. So it's a 2-5-1 in G minor. But actually a very common substitution for the changes in general is that A flat 7 sharp 11, because the sharp 11 is the melody note. So you'll often hear people playing this tune, There Is No Greater Love, A flat 7 sharp 11 to G7 to that dominant C7 down there before going to the C minor 7. Now, again, if we look back here, like typically we're not playing that in the regular changes for There's No Greater Love, but we are able to add that E flat 7 into the harmony. So now instead of A minor 7 flat 5 to D7 to G minor 7, we have E flat 7 to D7 to G minor 7. So even without me playing single note lines, you can already hear that really super bluesy sound coming out in the harmony. So here's my challenge for you today is to go ahead and go through different jazz standards that you know and try to see how many times you can use the tritone sub of 2 in the harmony to create some moving, cool blues lines in your jazz playing, and then go out and practice that. And then the question I want you to answer today in the show notes or the comments down below is, what ways can you use tritone substitution in your jazz playing that you know of already that can help us play more creative and interesting ideas in our jazz lines? Let me know. Now, obviously, to apply tritone substitution to jazz standards that you have to know some jazz standards. So I'd love to give you a free guide that I have called Learn Jazz Standards the Smart Way, which will help you learn jazz standards the most effective way in 5 simple steps. Also give you a bonus free Jazz Standards Mastery Formula Masterclass that I've come out with. So go to learnjazzstandardsthesmartway.com, or you can go ahead and check that out in the screen up here. Also, if you want to learn more about tritone substitution, I have another video that goes over more scenarios where you can use tritone substitution, so check it out on the screen right here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button if you like this video and found it helpful, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.